All right, everyone, I'm going to go ahead and get started. We have a lot to cover this evening, so I want to go ahead and jump right into it. But thank you all for joining us this evening to learn more about the Leeds School of Business at CU Boulder. We have a lot of information to share with you, and want to do a couple of quick introductions before we get started. My name is Jessica McGregor. I am the Director of Recruitment and Scholarships at the Leeds School of Business. So I, along with my teammate Clark Harris, who's also with us here, waving there, we oversee admissions and scholarships into the business program, and we are resources for you throughout the year as you're going through the application process and deciding on which school you want to go to. So we'll share our contact information at the end so that you can stay in touch with us. And then we are also joined tonight by our undergraduate dean, Al Smith, who is going to be kind of the star of the show tonight and giving you a really good overview of the Leeds program and what makes the Leeds School of Business so special. So I'm going to turn it over to him here in just a second. And then once he's finished, I will be covering some information on the admissions process and scholarship applications. And then we'll save as much time as we can at the end for Q&A. So please feel free to submit questions to us. You can submit them directly to Clark Harris at any time throughout the presentation, and then we'll go ahead and answer those at the end. So thank you again for joining us this evening, and Dean Smith, I'll hand it over to you.
So, hey everybody, as Jesse just said, my name's Al Smith and I'm the undergraduate dean at Leeds. And I can't tell you how strange this is for me to be talking to you from my bedroom. Normally, I would love to have you on campus looking inside that building and us talking about our school. But you know, with COVID, it just has disrupted us. And I'm so happy that you are making time to join us for Zoom. I know you've been in school all day, probably Zooming or other things like that. And so we appreciate the time. So what we're going to do tonight is we want to give you a big overview of the school. We're going to try to do some polls and some videos to make this really a little more engaging. And as Jesse said, we want to make sure that you don't leave tonight without your questions answered. So happy to help in any way, but know that I miss seeing you in person. I would love to kind of get you engaged and talk to you and have a chance to talk to you afterwards. So we'll do the best we can, but I'm just gonna start off. By the way, parents and or students, notice on that first slide, if you want to follow up with me, obviously the primary points of contact are Jesse and Clark, but if I said something tonight or you were confused about something, feel free to email me, ask me any questions. We want to make sure all your questions are answered. My email address is listed right there at al.smith@colorado.edu. So first of all, you know, I want to talk to you because I know when you're thinking about college, it's bigger than just like a business school. It's bigger than a reputation of a business school. So one of the things, if you don't know already, like Boulder and CU are just nestled in one of the most beautiful places in the country. And so we feel like that choice is about living and learning. And how does that all fit together for you? So this is an experience that really is unlike none other. And even if you live in Boulder, it will feel different when you're on campus and being part of the campus community. And we want to think that's a big part of your decision. In addition to that, there's some big kind of metrics or parts of our culture that are important for you to know. So I feel like now more than ever, it's really important when you pick a college that national brand matters. We are a national, if not international school. We're part of a Pac-12 affiliation with some of the best research schools in the country. I actually thought we moved into the Pac-12 a few years ago because of football or something like that, but it was actually about our research reputation and actually access to the Pacific Rim. So the big idea is your brand, if you're coming to CU and Leeds to be part of a national career opportunity or even international, it's a great opportunity to be here. If you're into rankings, we're annually ranked in the top 20 for public business schools. I don't know that I'd make my selection based on that, but we are top ranked and we can talk about why that is. But your brand is strong, not just by affiliation, but by its recognition in business schools across the country. We're really selective. So if you get into Leeds, you should be really super proud. We admit less than 1 out of 3 applicants that come in. About the top 20% of our class will have a 4.0 or better. The average GPA is around 3.8 or better every year. So it's really a competitive admission process. You come in with a lot of serious-minded students that also want to be super engaged in school and super engaged outside of class. Annually, almost 80% of our students that start in their freshman year graduate within 4 years or less. So there's a big promise, especially if you're an out-of-state student. That's a big question, whether can I get a degree in 4 years? That's really a high success rate. The campus rate is different from that. The national rate is like in the 50s. But really what this is saying is you can get a degree in 4 years if you want. The classes are there, the pathway is there. Also, I put another number up there, student retention. So this might be something your parents know. That means if you started at CU, are you likely to be back the next year? A really good number is in the 80s. Our number annually is about 94%. That's kind of like an Ivy League success number. You can see, and even in COVID, where there's a lot of uncertainty about college, 9 out of 10 students have come back for the next year and are still pursuing their degree. And annually, within 3 months of graduation, about 90% of our students have a job within 3 months. Most recruiters and high starting salary. So really tough to get in. You're going to be highly successful once in. Great jobs waiting for you on the way out. Even last year in this very difficult economic time, 84% of our job seekers reported having a job at graduation. So really great opportunity for you to come to Leeds and be who you want to be. But hey, enough talk. Let's take a poll. We got people from all over. There's different regions. Jesse, can you survey the students? Who's here? Where are they from? Let's see where you fit in. Is it the Coloradans? Or is it anybody from the West, the Southwest, Midwest? Oh my gosh, Northeast. Thanks for plugging in. You're staying up late. Looks really, really good. Let's compare who's with us tonight. So that looks like 74 voters and closing. Jesse, do I need to close that or do you close it? So keep an eye on that. Here, by the way, is what the national numbers come in to lead. So I mentioned to you that this is part of a national brand. So when you come to CU, literally like 57% of the students are from Colorado, but you can see literally students come from the Pacific Western states, large percentage from the Midwest. Texas is a big farm, Southeast, which is where I'm originally from. I'm a Southern person. 6% from the Northeast. And so even 2% of our students internationally, typically that's a little bit higher, but within the last couple of years with COVID, other reasons that international students have been on the decline, but typically we can be as much as 10% or a little bit less than that. So again, this gives you a great chance to meet students and leverage Leeds' diversity in so many different ways. And again, that may lead to just friend connections, cultural development, or even job opportunities. So we place students all over the country and all over the world. Hey, let's take another poll. Why business? So some of you are like, I got all these different reasons why I'm pursuing business. So let's see what is the most important thing to you. So I talked to those things tonight. Jesse, is it really about getting a great job upon graduation? And I just love business. I'm curious about the field. I don't know what I want to do, but I want to get a degree. I can do anything. I may want to go to law school, medical school, or just, I know business is going to help me because so much of the world is about business. What is it really? Other? Is it other? Is it like, I have no idea what the question is? Nobody's other, which is okay. So we have a program for you. So that is really not untypical, whether you're actually interested in business and you know the exact field, or you're still trying to figure that out, or you want to leverage it to other things. One of the big takeaways tonight is Leeds is a place that you can be who you want to be. We're not forcing you down a certain corporate path. We want to help you customize your degree as you go. And we have certain ways to do that. So students, when you're looking at college, and parents, if there are any parents out there, whatever school you pick, trust me on this, I'm old. I'm probably older than your parents. And I've been in this over 30 years. And I can tell you there's 3 things that predict your success. And you want to look at schools and wonder, do they have these things? And by the way, for sure we do, because they're really important. And that's why I put them in. So first of all, these are the keys to look for. Number 1, a sense of belonging. Do I fit? Do I like the people that I'm around? Can I connect with the faculty, other peers, the staff? Do I feel like I'm a part? Leeds is not a place you come to and you go to class and you go home and try to do a job. you become actively involved. We have a sense of belonging. We want this big school to feel really small. Second, what we want is you got to look for a place that's going to grow you academically and outside of the class. So is it going to raise your competence in ways? And so that's another thing that's really important for us. We pride ourselves, even though we're a public school, half of our faculty are from Ivy League programs. So they're really going to challenge you to think more critically, but also you got to be able to manage yourself outside of class, and we support you in that way as well. And the third really element that's critical is what I call finding a clear career direction. So is there support that can help you build your resume, your interview skills? Is there mentoring networks? Can we customize a pathway to your career interest? Again, it's not like we want you to go to one job. So we're going to help you with that. So when you look at schools, they need to have that, and Leeds integrates all three of those in our model to be successful. So we'll come back to that in a second, but when you judge schools, that's the criteria I want you to judge it by. So now, like, what is the degree really? And so what's funny is you think you're going to come to business school and only study business, but half your degrees in the business school, the other half is outside of it, because we want you to establish a foundation of critical thinking, as well as getting deep understanding of business. And so here's what that looks like. I made a pie graph and somebody drew all over it. I don't know what that is. So on that pie graph, what we have is, first of all, 33 of the credits are in what we call arts and sciences core. These are going to be kind of similar to what you've had in high school, but just a higher level. So there may be economics, there may be social sciences, humanities, sciences. All of those are giving you a foundation of critical thinking. In addition to that, what you have is 23 hours of what is called non-business electives. So this is your first area of customization at Leeds and CU. So you can take those 23 hours and cobble it with some of the 33 and get a double degree in like economics. Or you may just take classes of interest to you, or you may pursue certificate in minors. Some students like major in dance and business, not to own a dance studio, but literally they just have competing interests and they want to have a holistic education. So that's one area of customization. Next is what we call the B Corps. And that's on the business side. So what you have there is you have the ability, that's the B Corps stands for the business core, or the foundation in business. And so those are kind of like the introductory to all business function, all areas. And I'll show you those really quickly, but that's introduction to management, marketing, accounting, finance. We even have a course that kind of integrates all those functions and case studies. In addition to that, you have 18 hours in your area of emphasis. That's what you guys will think about as your major, but the major is business. And the area is either in accounting, finance, marketing, management, or real estate. So you get this foundation and then you specialize in an area. And then you have 16 credits in business electives. And this, you guys, that's your second area of customization. So you can cobble those together and get what we call a dual area, like accounting and finance. Or you can pursue one of our certificate programs, which are typically 9 hours, some a little bit more, but like we'll talk about that in just a second. Or you just take classes that are of general interest to you. So again, it's all about customizing your path. But when you see those credits, you guys, it's hard to imagine, but a credit represents the number of hours that you spend in class per week. So in high school, you're probably in class 40 hours a week. In college, the average is like 15. So literally there's 120 credit hours to graduate. So a lot of what you do is in class and learning outside of class. And we'll come back to that as well. So we talked about these areas of study. So Leeds can get super specialized or be super general, depending on what you really want to do. So in terms of area of study, these are the areas of emphasis. So accounting is one, finance is another, management and entrepreneurship, marketing, or real estate, as we mentioned. So people study accounting. Sometimes they want to go into big four accounting firms. Sometimes they want to go into boutique firms. But these are people really good with numbers, kind of solving problems, that type of thing. Finance are people that are really comfortable in money and want to work with money in different ways, whether that's in a company helping to manage the money, or working with other companies investing money, or even helping others invest in wealth management opportunities. Some people want to manage or lead other people, or even start their own business. And that's what this area is. Marketing, so much that you see now, whether that is the promotion of a product, the selling of a product, the distribution of a product, a lot of that comes within that. And last but not least is real estate. And usually when you have an area of real estate, you apply it to one of these other areas. So typically you'll declare one of these big areas, or you might even have a special track. So Leeds doesn't just have like one major. Literally, we have 29 different concentrations within. And so whether that's accounting, it could be going on to get your master's in it. Finance is sub areas from investment banking all the way to financial planning. And management, it could be information management, operations, or even down to talent management, which is kind of like HR. Marketing, if you want to subspecialize, it could be in marketing analytics or in marketing and communications. In special interest, you can also, some of you are like, well, I like engineering, I like business too. So we actually created an integrated degree, which brings computer science into your business degree. So you can actually get both within 4 years, or a new degree that we have, which is a rising area of business called business analytics. So you guys remember that pie graph we showed you, and there's like 16 hours of business electives. So you can use that again to combine these areas that you see, or you can pursue these certificate programs that I mentioned earlier. Like maybe you want to work in the sports industry. Maybe you want to start your own business. Maybe you want to have an international flavor to your degree. Maybe you want to get into operations. Maybe you're headed toward Wall Street. Maybe you're looking at just like business's role in society, or want to get more depth in terms of leadership. So all of that is sort of there for you. It just depends on how you want to customize it. And that's what Leeds is known for. How do we create a custom track for you? Broad or super specific, will help you over 4 years to decide that. So what does that look like really when you're going down the road? And like each year, give you an idea every year, like the first year is really about establishing your foundation. You're coming in, you're taking sort of introduction, like what is business? That's the world of business. We're teaching how to communicate. We're teaching how to solve business problems with math. You're taking some statistics, economics. Your first year is like a transition into the business school. Then it ramps up. And the second year, you're kind of like learning about the functions, because you got a whole nother year to decide what's your area of study. Because you could have started off saying, I want accounting. And after you take the first intro to accounting, you're like, not so much. Or you're like, oh my gosh, I know I want to do that. So you have 2 years to decide. We have career coaches that help you with that. Then you go into your area of study, your junior year, typically. And then last but not least, you're kind of rounding out, customizing with your remaining time in school. So each semester, you're really taking some business. Like the first year, it's just 12, 18 outside of business. Next year, a lot heavier in business, some outside of it. Third year, way heavier in business, some outside of it. But point being, each year you're having this balance between inside, outside of business to give you well-rounded. And it's all about your plan. Are you going to study abroad? What are you going to do? Okay. So this is what makes Leeds super distinctive. It's curriculum. So we have maybe the most innovative curriculum in the world. And I know that because, to be honest with you, I designed it. And so I went around the country and I looked at different schools and I'm like, what are they doing? And I'm like, gosh, I love that idea, but I think we can do it different. And so I met with the faculty. And so literally, this is kind of what it looks like. So we have this experiential component in the fourth semester. And in that semester, what we do is we bring in live cases. So you're literally in your first year, you're going to do some case competitions in our communication course. And the fourth semester, we actually have real companies with real data, and you work in small teams to solve the problem. So maybe there's an early stage company like Ratio, and how do they scale up? Or you may get exposure to a company like Justin's, who's growing, and you're going to have to figure out their growth strategy. Or a mature stage company like Noodles, and they're looking at different market strategies and supply chain issues. So you will learn not only about the introduction of business, but how it all fits together. And that's really, really distinctive. And by the culmination of this experiential learning, you'll begin to decide by your junior year which area you want to really focus on. So again, you have 2 years to do that. Okay, that's the curriculum, but let's talk about the experience. So I'm looking at William. William, I'm looking just at you. I don't know why I see you on the screen, William Meeks, but I'm looking right at you and I'm saying, I want you to think this is a big school, William, but with a small school feel. So that's my goal. That's what I've worked so hard to try to get people that work with me and with you to make it feel like super personalized. So what I've done now, Andrew, now I'm looking at you and I'm saying, I want you to feel like you're literally going to a boarding school when you come to Leeds. So we got this residential program, literally almost the whole dorm is full of business students. And so you have class, you don't have to live in here. You can also live outside of it. But for this, we have a person at Leeds that's over the entire first year. She's really great and you'll love to meet her. But she does programming for you in the building. There's classes that are taught in the building. There's special programs they offer for all first year students, but also some within the residential experience as well. And you can see we have our own enriching academics. It's located right near the business school, right near the dining hall. There's business classes, but you also take classes outside of it. So it's not all business. But again, it feels like there's community support. There's an academic advisor in there. It's all focused on your success as a first year student because that's the critical thing. So I'm not telling you have to live in there, but Skylar, I can't see your face, but I'm telling you, sign up for it the minute you commit to Leeds because it's really competitive and students wait and they're waiting on choices. They're like, oh my God, I want to live in China Rapo. And it's like, Andrew, it's too late. I hate to tell you. So about 60% of our students live in there. So I would pick it as soon as you can. But again, it's a way of making the community feel like it's right for you. Okay. Let's take another survey. Let's talk global. Who wants to go global? Jesse, can you launch a poll? And can you help me figure out how to get this off my screen? I can't figure that out. So some people are like, I don't want to leave the country. I don't want to leave my house. I'm afraid of COVID. I can't blame you. 23% are not sure. Who knows? You're like, I don't even know what the options are. I want to figure that out. But 70% now like, yes, I want to go global. I may even know where I want to go global. I might have even been global. You know, to be honest with you, I think that's really smart. All of you, not that you have to go global, but the world is becoming more global. People come to Leeds all the time like, Dean Smith, why don't you have an international business degree? And I'm like, great idea 30 years ago. That business is an international concept. So what you want is deep functional knowledge like in finance, but understand how finance plays out globally. So what we do is we have like 350 study abroad partners. We have Leeds specific programs, but I want to show you like literally in the first year, how we think of going global. So I want all of you to consider this because by the time you come to school, I'm hoping we can travel global again. So I made a video. So don't tell me if you don't like it, but I like videos. So let's see if why is that working? Hold on. I'm gonna try it again. Hope you like that. Just remember, write this down. Technology will fail you half the time, so be prepared. So you guys, when you go global, what we have an opportunity to lead, so literally your second semester, you can take a course, we call it FGX, and you study businesses and culture, and then either over spring break or at the end of the semester, you take a trip with the other 25 students that are in your class with a teacher and a staff member, and you actually go to the businesses that you studied and you immerse yourself in the culture and you really get an understanding of global business really in year one. And that could prepare you later to study abroad and or literally take an international internship, etc. But that opportunity really goes all around the world. So you can see literally where we go. We change those places all the time, whether it's France, Germany, Portugal, Spain, South Africa, Chile, Argentina, Denmark. We always mix up the locations. So some of them are residential program specific, but others are open to all students. So more to come. We think that's a really important part of your education when you come to Leeds. So we're looking forward to that. So also, in addition to that, we also offer different kinds of extra enrichment. So for instance, some students, we feel we want to have extra support for women in business because we think that's a really important aspect of our culture. So we have some signature programs for women to be successful in business, or for all students to learn to participate in that as well. We have degrees in and programming that connects business and technology. So literally the business school has been merged with the engineering school. So we have joint partnership and programming there, but also this business and computer science degree, which I mentioned earlier. We also have deep ethos and social responsibility. So literally the Leeds naming gift came for diversity and social responsibility. So when you leave, you're not just understanding businesses, but businesses' role in society. We also have special support programs for underrepresented students, our Office of Diversity Affairs, and students love that, and they're so successful in that program. We have over 30 different clubs and organizations. The campus has over 300 clubs and organizations, but these are business specific. Some are social, some are purely business oriented, some are interest oriented. If there's a club that you'd like to see, but we don't have, we'll give you the startup money to start that as well. So that's another way to make this big school feel small. We also have top scholar programs. So our lead scholars honors programs. I have a special program. We have a number of different enrichment programs for students who are looking to do even more outside of class. And we have our deep DNA is in career development and mentorship. And so we have a 4-year mentorship program, which we'll talk about to you shortly. So again, how do we do it? It's like small programs, whether it's residential, whether it's going global in small classes, whether it's signature experiences. I look at it like this is you, and I want to put a wrap around of experiences. So literally when you come to Leeds in the fall, we'll have this custom orientation. We'll have signature programs that you can join. We'll have a whole first-year model for you to get involved with, a programming enrichment, extra advising support. We're going to have a seminar, the only class I'll ever take in college about you, like to literally teach you how to design your life and your college experience. That's taught by our staff in small sections of 20 or 25, and that can help you really pick your choices, understand your strengths, how to discover yourself and discover your future. You get to meet business practitioners. So you have these really top research faculty, but you also have people like from IBM and Whole Foods and any company you can imagine, Amazon, Google, whatever. They've come in and they actually lecture. So we have half our faculty are practitioners that can give you real application of problems. We talked about a student organization you can join. We've integrated our support. So what's really critical is our academic advising matches our career advising. So if you study finance, you'll have an academic advisor in finance and a career advisor in finance, and hopefully a mentor. So it's like a triangle, William. It's a triangle of success around you so you can be successful and feel supported. And again, 4 years, we start off with peer mentorship. By your sophomore year, young alums you can be mentored by. And by your senior year, literally executives. We have over 1,400 executives in the field. So in addition to this wraparound support to make you feel a sense of community, you may come to Leeds with AP credits and you're like, gosh, I don't want to graduate early. I'd actually like to go for a 5th year. Or you don't even need AP credits. You can also just pursue this. A lot of students will say, I want to get an MBA, which is great. But an MBA, for most really good programs, honestly, you need to be working for 3 years and then come back. But a hot trend now is to stay on for an extra year and pursue a 1-year master's. And we have those you can get directly into, whether it's in analytics, supply chain, finance, real estate, accounting. Almost all accounting really should be a 5th year anyway. So that's kind of a given. But again, depending on your credits, that's a nice way to just go deeper and richer in your experience. So we've talked a little bit about the curriculum and how to sort of figure out your area. We've talked about a lot of programs and services to make you help you feel supported and successful. Now what I want to talk to you about is the signature part of our career development program. So we are really, because when you come to Leeds, you come directly in the business school. And literally over 4 years, it's not like you have to wait 2 years and get in, wait a year to get in. We leverage all 4 years to help you really develop a personal business plan for success. And so let's take another poll, because I've been talking too much, Andrew. I want to survey you again. And the poll this time is, I got to go forward for the poll. And the question is, I don't need personal recommendations or support in finding a job. I don't want any help. I want to do it on my own. I'm like Daniel Boone. I'm going to be a trailblazer in the West. Don't bother me. I can figure it all out myself. I don't want any help. Leave me alone. I'm not looking for career support. I want to go to a school that has a central career office that I can try to find it somewhere. I don't even want it in the building. So you got to admit, there's 3 people that like want to do it on their own, and they may already have a path to be successful. But like most people, okay, now we're up to 5. That's making me nervous. Okay. But most people are looking for customized services because the choices, it's so hard to know. How do you line yourself up for success? So literally, you guys, I don't even know if you've ever heard of Salesforce. Your parents might have heard of Salesforce, but we have this technology. Salesforce is a customer relation management system that businesses use to kind of provide customer services to their clients. We took that same technology and literally brought it into Leeds. It's like super distinctive. So here's how it works. Literally your freshman year and every year after, we start surveying you about your career interests. And you may be like, oh my gosh, I want to work for Google. I love Google. And you're like, your goal is Google. Well, guess what? There's probably like 1,400 other students that are saying the same thing, but that's still okay. But literally that's helping us send you skills, send you opportunities to connect with Google, to get you a custom path to help you understand how to prepare for that. But in addition, what we do is we run a interest survey for Google. So when Google comes to Leeds, and by the way, they're just down the road, they've just made this huge headquarters on Pearl Street. And they'll come in and they'll say, we're targeting this kind of student. So like you can see the blue is accounting, or they're looking for finance students, et cetera, depending on what their business needs, and they will zoom in. So that's why employers love to come to Leeds, because they're like, I don't want to come to campus and nobody's interested. I want to know who those students are, what they look like, and students want to know, how do I prepare for that? It's that marriage that technology does for you. And here's what happens. So students will say, well, is there a job for me? Well, let me just tell you, I got 1 billion of them. So as I mentioned, when you come to Leeds, last year, we had 10 jobs posted for every student graduating. So whether it's in consulting, consumer products, Fortune 100, Big 4 accounting firms, financial services. So the pathway early on your freshman year, you're filling out a survey, and we're trying to help you prepare, because you can't do it last minute, right? You got to start thinking about how the classes and how my experiences, how my internships. And what'll happen is all of a sudden you'll be like, a couple of these companies just start popping out. And you're like, oh my gosh, here's where I want to work. And so how do you develop a pathway for that? That's what we do over 4 years to try to help you either figure out where you want to be, or how do you get there? So that's one. I mean, that would be great. William, if that was enough, that's really good. I mean, no one has that, but we're not stopping there, right? So we want to do another survey, because we have more than just career advisors. We have more than just academic advisors. So I need to know right now, because this is cultural. Does mentorship matter for you? Like if you have a mentor, I talked about mentors earlier. Does that matter for career success? Like, I don't need a mentor. I'm gonna do it on my own. I don't even need anybody. No, I don't need any help. I'm self-sufficient. People think mentoring matters. Well, anybody that picked that, I'm going to give you an A on your first class at Leeds, because, and Gallup is a company that does a lot of surveying, and the #1 predictor of career success is a mentor. Like, Skylar, can you find somebody in a company that cares enough about you that you can go to them, that's safe enough, that you can talk about your frustrations or your interests or whatever, and you can learn and grow from them? If you can find that person, it's so important. So you ever hear this expression? It's not what you know, it's who you know. Well, I don't know if I 100% agree with that. I think it's actually the intersection of these two things. The opportunities, you got to be smart, you got to be prepared, but you got to know folks. And so this is what Leeds did. So you know what I did? William, you know what I did? I made another video. Okay. So 4 minutes, get ready. And let's see if I blow it on this one because I blew it on the last one.
The Leeds mentorship program gives you.
I got to do it again. It's got to load up or something.
The Leeds mentorship program gives you an advocate for your professional and personal development.
Initially, when I joined the mentoring program, it was quite small. Today, the program's over 3,000. The endowment that didn't exist back then is now over $1 million, and it's something that has exceeded any of our expectations.
The peer-to-peer mentoring program is where an upperclassman, typically sophomore, junior, is paired with a freshman, and it gives them an opportunity to kind of have a sense of what is going on, have someone there to guide them and be there to help them, whether it's academic needs, personal needs, or anything of that sort.
At the beginning of the semester, we set goals for the 3 things that we wanted to talk about each time we met, and so that included like classwork and just kind of progression on grades, personal life, friendships, all of that, and then like professional development. And RD's just been incredibly supportive through everything.
You know, coming into peer-to-peer mentors, you know, I was nervous coming into college. I came from a really small high school, and Max was there, you know, right from the beginning. So being able to...
What'd I do? What'd I do?
The Leeds mentorship program.
Mentors. You know, I was nervous coming into college. I came from a really small high school, and Max was there, you know, right from the beginning. So being able to really, you know, find someone right away that has kind of been through what I'm about to go through was something really comforting.
And I really do think that it's because someone was there for you, you're going to be there for someone else. And you know, I had a peer-to-peer mentor my freshman year, and he was great. Because of that experience, because I had such a good relationship with my mentor, I want to do that same thing for David, where it's constantly passing it forward.
The YAM program stands for Young Alumni Mentors, and it's a program that matches young alumni with sophomore students, and the mentors help them with searching for internships, resume skills, kind of a lot of professional development.
Yeah, so I love the YAMS program because we really cover a lot over a whole entire year. Probably my favorite thing is really passing on what my mentor taught me around informational interviews and the value of just getting in front of people and talking to them and learning from them and really helping decide where do you want your career to go. And then, of course, along with that, you have the LinkedIn profiles, the interview prep, the resume building, and just some of those soft skills, getting ready for really landing a job once you leave Leeds.
It's a great way to just have someone there for you whenever I need to. I can email Nick, I can call Nick, and just know that he'll be there for me. And that's a great way to have someone just be right on your shoulder and know that no matter what, someone's always there for you.
The PMP program matches undergraduate students with professional mentors who help you develop your professionalism, your career prospects, your understanding of the business world.
You know, the advantage, I think, for the student working with a PMP mentor is the fact that you're dealing with somebody who's been in the business for a while, knows and has a network, and is more than happy to work with the student and connecting them not only with their networks, but other networks as well.
And life is a journey, and hopefully as mentors we help them understand perspective and being able to really step back from that day-to-day stress and see that you can build a roadmap for yourself, and we're here to help you do that.
It's way more beneficial than you could ever imagine. You can get a job. I've been offered internships through this program. It's just, you get advice on everything. They tweak your resume. It's the most helpful experience.
Someone looking to enter the PMP program, my advice would just be do it. Don't think about it, do it. It's going to catalyze your career. It's going to put you on a trajectory that you weren't on before, and it's going to help you be successful in the long run. So I think it's a really valuable process.
Okay, you guys should know that's every year. Like freshman year, it's peer mentoring. Sophomore year, young alumni mentors. And Colin, I think I know your brother Jack, don't I? Is it your brother Jack? Yep. And so he is a sophomore now, and so he could be in the Young Alumni Mentor Program if he's in it. And then by your junior year, it's the professional mentoring program. Not only does this help you become successful while it leads, but a lot of companies have mentoring programs. And so it prepares you to be really acclimated into corporate culture if that's the where you go. So again, in mentoring, there's this peer, there's this young alumni connection. And so that's really important, by the way, your sophomore year, because you're still figuring out like, which job do I want? And you can actually get out there, see what it's really like, help decide in a really supportive environment. And then, as I mentioned, there's over 1,400 professional mentors that can help you. So a couple of quick stats, because they're giving me the hook. They're like, Al, wrap it up, get it going soon. So first of all, about 80% of our students, and to be honest with you, it should be more, do an internship, and the vast majority of those are for pay. What you want to do at Leeds is really more than one internship. In that, I mentioned 10-to-1 jobs posted for every student. 89% of those internships held were for pay. So really they're paying you to get a job. But your first internship, you want to really think about really in your sophomore year, at the latest your junior year, and really by your senior year, you're starting to take offers and decide. And so you're trying them on, they're figuring you out. And there's just so many opportunities it leads to kind of get it going. So again, explore an interest and then by your junior year. So we've talked about customizing degrees, and that's what you do at Leeds. Custom path academically, custom path career-wise. Let's take a survey. Jesse, can you see who is interested in customizing my degree? Like, no, I want it lockstep. Tell me what to take. I don't want to think about it. I want to go to a school that doesn't have much choice. Nobody's saying that. So far, everyone's 100% customized. So you're looking at the right school, because here you can follow a very traditional path, and we'll lay that out for you. But if you really have diverse interests, this allows you to bring and sort of kind of design your own degree for the career you want to have. But what does that really mean? Like, what does that mean to customize your degree? So I've given you so much stuff on credits and services and programs. Well, let me give you an example. Here's all you really need to know, big picture. This is what I teach my freshmen in my class. Number one, a lot of you are coming, you're like, I'm trying to pick a college. I'm focused on your mission. So Megan, when I'm thinking about you, it's like, where do you want to be? What are you really about? What's the purpose, right? So my goal is to take you from backpacks to briefcases. How do I help you see that journey? And really there's three main things, Madeline, I want you to focus on, right? And how do you, and leveraging these resources. Number one, what do you need to know? Like what's the degree? What's the areas? What skills do I need to prepare? And really, what experiences will differentiate you? Like Matthew, if you're looking for a competitive job, you just can't follow a cookie cutter program. So it's like, am I going to do a study abroad that's really distinctive? Am I going to do an internship and do a project that's really differentiated? So let me give you an example, because about 35% of our students study finance. I could pick any area really. And we talked about these subspecialties. So you could stay with finance or do like something like investment banking, which is one of the highest paid. You guys, last year we had 2 students salary package over $300,000 a year. Unbelievable. So the opportunities to customize. So whether it's quantitative finance, a double degree in economics and business, maybe you get a dual area in accounting and finance. You take our investment banking course where you invest real money in the stock market with our own trading floor with faculty supervision. Then you look at skills and you're like, I want to not just take Excel, but advanced Excel. If you haven't taken that in high school, start getting familiar with it now. The Bloomberg trading floor, which I talked about, you get in team competitions. Maybe you do our London seminar in finance. You get a professional mentor that has worked on Wall Street. You take a trip to Wall Street. You work with our Burge Center, that somebody who's used to work on Wall Street runs it. You see what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to figure out all the little details, but the big picture is what we want to help you focus on. And that's how you customize your journey. So what does that really look like? So not only is there a business path, but there's also non-traditional paths. We want you to be who you want to be. So take Brooke Fox. When Brooks came to Leeds, she had a real interest in both English and finance. Remember we talked about outside of business, in business, and how does that fit together for Brooke? So she literally was a correspondent for USA Today in college. She actually was invited to the White House and interviewed Obama. She interned in Bloomberg News and literally got her job there with Bloomberg. And she's working there now, I think. Take Roy Romero. He had a more traditional path. Roy actually started off in the engineering school and was like, gosh, I prefer business better. And so he came over and he wanted to combine accounting and real estate because he's just got big vision for development. And so he interned in Los Angeles. He participated in the CU Real Estate Club. When we talk about those 30 clubs, Cullen, also he participated in a real estate case competition. Competition sharpen your skills. He worked at Conscious Bay Capital in investing and managing real estate. And now he's a co-founder of Capis, a commercial real estate company in 2019. Great company, just hard for me to pronounce. So again, you can go very non-traditional, very traditional. It depends what you want to be. So how do I sort of sum this up? You guys, when I came to Leeds 10 years ago, how do I make it really challenging to get in, really successful once you're in, with great opportunities? So Carter, look at this journey. I got here and it was like our placement rates were just awful. It was like less than half the people had a job within 3 months of graduation. And what I realized is students don't know what they don't know. So we started building in requirements each year, resume, interview prep, other opportunities, and the job placement rates kept soaring until COVID, which got on my nerves, but that was 85%. So literally within 3 months of graduation, we're not just focused on your first job, you guys. Matthew, we're focused on the next job. So we want to help you get career ready, but also have an eye on the future. And that's what's super distinctive about us. So in summary, and I'm going to turn it over to Jesse for in just a second. Here's what I think are big takeaways. Number one, we're one of the top publics in the country, highest profile in the region. We have this course that's going to help you make a plan. We have an opportunity to go global. We have a boarding school you can get into. You're going to develop your own custom plan from day one. You're going to be enriched by the most innovative curriculum, have a chance to meet a mentor to figure out your career. Literally, we'll have a conference for you to help you make decisions. By your junior year, you can get in the professional mentor network, start customizing your degree even more, take a trek anywhere in the country, visit alums, see different markets. Is this right for you? By your senior year, be exposed to some of the highest starting salaries, most recruiters. And of late, literally, we've lined up our experiences toward the fourth industrial revolution so our students can graduate with the competencies, not just courses, but be able to say, I know how to solve problems. I know how to be emotionally intelligent, etc. You may even stay on a fifth year and pursue one of those master's programs or not. But to know deep in our DNA is mentoring. We want our students to participate in mentoring, but also learn how to give back to the broader society, but also have a robust career development option. So last but not least, that's it. So remember, at the very end, we can come back to questions, but if you're shy or you think about a question afterwards, remember my email address is on there. So I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to figure out why this yellow is on my screen. And so I'm going to get out of that and turn it over to Jesse.
Awesome. All right. You guys see my screen? Probably not yet. There we go. Good to go, Clark? Good.
Good to go. Yeah.
Good. Okay. Sorry. Just making sure. All right, you guys. So thank you, Dean Smith, for giving that awesome overview of the Leeds program. And I'm going to spend probably about 10 minutes or so just giving some additional details about the admissions process to Leeds and the scholarship application process. And then we will stick on for a little bit afterwards. I know we've got about 10 minutes left in our time window, so I'll get through this information. Hopefully this will answer a lot of questions that you have about applying. And then we'll stick on for a little bit afterwards to continue answering Q&A. So if you've been submitting questions, we will not ignore those. I promise you, we will get to those. All right, so I want to start off just by sharing some quick dates and deadlines that are important in our admissions process. So some of you may have already applied, some of you maybe have not submitted your applications yet. So I just want to cover when the deadlines are, when you will hear back from the university on your admission decision. So the first deadline's coming up here in a matter of weeks, really. So November 15th is our early action deadline. If you apply by the early action deadline, you will hear back from CU no later than February 1st, okay? The the regular decision deadline, if you need a little bit more time, if you're not going to be able to get everything in by November 15th, you do have until January 15th as the final application deadline. And if you submit by then, guaranteed you'll hear back no later than April 1st. So those are the two big deadlines to really keep in mind. I do recommend applying early action if you can. You'll be considered equally no matter what, but I do think applying early action, getting that decision earlier is going to make your spring a little bit more manageable when you have to start thinking about financial aid packages and housing applications and kind of getting everything else lined up that comes in the spring. So I do think that early action timeline lends itself to just a little bit of an easier process. So those are the admissions deadlines. The scholarships I'm going to talk a little bit more about in a couple slides, but just a snapshot of the deadlines here. The scholarship application will open this Sunday. It opens on November 1st. You can access the scholarship application as soon as you have applied for admission to the university. So if you have submitted your common application, you should get information on how to also then access the scholarship application. So November 1st is when it opens, March 13th is the deadline, and you will get scholarship notifications back from us by April 1st. So feel free to take a screenshot of that slide or a picture with your phone or whatever you need to keep those dates in mind. And then I'll get a little bit more into the details of the scholarship process here in a second. So one of the questions we always hear from students this time of year is, how exactly do I apply to Leeds? If you are applying as an incoming freshman, so you're a high school senior right now, you will apply to the University of Colorado Boulder through the common application. If you're a transfer student, there's a CU application available on the admissions website that you can access. So it's through the CU admissions office for transfer students, but for any incoming freshman, common app is how you're gonna apply. When you get into the common application and you select CU Boulder as one of your schools, you will be able to select the academic program at CU Boulder, and that's where you wanna select the Leeds School of Business. So as long as you select Leeds in there, then your application will be reviewed for admission directly into the business program. You can, if you would like, declare one of those areas of emphasis that Dean Smith was talking about. So if you know that you want to do finance within Leeds or real estate or management, you can declare that on your common application. You can also choose business undecided. A vast majority of students apply undecided. That is totally fine. So it's up to you if you want to declare one or not. One of the questions we get asked a lot on this is it easier to get into finance over real estate? Does it benefit me or hurt me if I'm declaring a specific business area when I apply? The answer is no. We are not paying attention in application reviews to which one of these business areas you're applying to, so it really doesn't help or hinder you in terms of the admissions process. Feel free to declare that if you want, or leave it blank if you want to leave it that way. As Dean Smith mentioned, you've got the first 2 years to figure out which one of these you really, or two, that you really want to stick with. And a lot of students that declare it coming in end up changing it. So again, no pressure there on declaring which emphasis. All right, the application review process. So we do practice holistic admissions, which means we're looking at every component of that application. So we'll be looking at the information that you put on the Common App. We'll be looking at your GPA, and we do look at weighted GPAs. So if you've taken AP or IB or honors classes, the weighted GPA is the one we look at. We will look at test scores if you choose to submit them. We are test optional this year due to limitations of testing around COVID. So you do not have to submit an ACT or SAT score, but you can. We'll be looking at academic rigor on your transcript. So what kinds of classes have you been taking and have you been challenging yourself over the course of your high school career? We do read the essays and the letters of recommendation, and then we're also looking at your involvement in activities, leadership, things you've done in high school. So all of those are being put into our review. Quick note on test optional, please do not feel pressured to go out and try and take a test. We anticipate that most high school seniors will not be submitting test scores this year, and that is completely fine. You will still be fully considered for admission. It will not hurt you in the admissions process to apply without a test score. You'll still be considered for scholarships. So please don't feel anxious about that if you want to apply without one. I do have up on the slide here some statistics just from last year's students who were admitted into the business program. These are the middle 50% of students admitted last year. So they had between a 3.73 and a 4.0 GPA, 1300 to 1410 SAT, and a 29 to 32 ACT. So again, that is not a requirement. Please do not think of them that way. This just means that the middle 50% fell within those ranges. 25% were below, 25% were above these ranges. It just kind of gives you a good average number. The reason I put that up there is we've been getting a lot of questions from students who do have ACT or SAT scores and aren't sure whether they should submit them or not. So I only put those up there just as kind of a hopefully helpful guide to kind of look at your score if you have one and know where you're falling among our averages. All right, and then the review process. So when you apply to CU Boulder, you've selected Leeds as your academic program, we will first and foremost consider you for direct admission into the business program as a freshman. So that is always where we are starting with your application, is can we get you directly admitted? As Dean Smith mentioned, it has gotten fairly competitive over the last handful of years. So we're currently only have space to admit about a third of the students who apply to Leeds. So we will try and get you in there. If we cannot get you directly into the business program, your application is then automatically reviewed for our pre-business program. Pre-business is a one-year program, so you would come to CU Boulder as a freshman in pre-business. A lot of the same supports, cool programs, global experiences, mentoring, business courses are still available to you as a pre-business student. So it's a fantastic program. There's a residential program similar to the one Dean Smith was talking about that you can live in. And what you essentially need to do is finish that first year with a certain GPA requirement and some prerequisite courses that you've completed. And as long as you meet those requirements, you're guaranteed admission into Leeds for your sophomore year. Okay, so it's an automatic transition as long as you meet that first year pre-business requirement. If we cannot get you directly in and we cannot get you into pre-business, you're still going to be considered for general admission to CU Boulder in the College of Arts and Sciences. So that's kind of our third layer of reviews. So you'll still be considered for that. If you're just generally admitted to CU Boulder, you can still transfer into Leeds as soon as your sophomore year. There is a GPA, some prerequisites, and you do have to apply to come in that sophomore year, but that is a third pathway. Okay, so these are three different pathways into Leeds, but please know when you submit your application, we're looking at all three of these options. There's nothing special you need to do. We'll go down the line to see if we can get you directly into pre-business or just general CU admission. The other thing I want to mention with this, it is absolutely possible to graduate in 4 years from Leeds with any of these pathways. Okay, we've got lots of supports in place to help you do that. So being admitted to pre-business or having to go through arts and sciences does not delay your timeline to graduation, as long as we're doing the planning and we're meeting the requirements, and you'll have advisors to help you do that. So these decisions will come down again in the spring. Clark and I are here to help you understand whatever that admissions decision might be. So if you do get a pre-business decision or a general admission decision to CU Boulder and you have questions about that, please contact us and we can walk you through exactly what it means and get you connected to the people that you need to make that happen. All right, quick note on scholarships. I know I'm taking a lot of time here. On the scholarship front, so Clark and I oversee admission stuff, but we also oversee business specific scholarships. So there are three different ways, I guess, that you can get scholarships through the university. The first is through the Office of Admissions. So when you apply with the Common App and you apply for admission, you could be offered an automatic merit scholarship with your admission letter. Okay, so that's kind of the first layer of scholarship offers that could happen. Then there are additional scholarship opportunities through the Office of Financial Aid and through the Leeds School of Business, and those two do require the separate scholarship application. So there's the CU Boulder application and then an addendum, a supplement to that application that's specific to students applying to Leeds. So you do want to make sure that you fill out both of those so that we can consider you for any and all scholarship opportunities. For Leeds specifically, we award about $500,000 out to incoming freshmen each year. Again, you should submit the CU Boulder and the Leeds supplemental application. Every year it seems we have students who submit just the campus one and not the Leeds one, and then want to be considered for Leeds scholarships and they didn't apply. So just make sure you have both of those in. If you have questions about that once you've submitted and you want us to confirm that you've actually submitted everything you need to, reach out to us. That's a really quick lookup for us that we can confirm you have everything in. Again, the timeline for this. So the scholarship application will open November 1st. You have until March 13th, and then we will release decisions back to you on April 1st. The other note that I'll mention about Leeds scholarships is that most of the ones through the business school are funded by donors. And so the criteria is different based on, who the donor wanted the funds to go to. So some are merit, some are need-based, some are for students in special programs or certain academic majors. It really just depends. So it's kind of a wide variety. The nice thing about it is that you just need to fill out that Leeds supplemental application and the system will automatically match you to anything that your application qualifies for. So you do not need to go through an exhaustive list of a bunch of different scholarships and apply to a ton of them. You really just need to worry about the one scholarship application, and then we'll take it from there to get you matched. Okay. So that's an overview of scholarships. Again, reach out to Clark and I if you have any questions about either the admissions or the scholarship process. And then I also want to mention a couple other ways to connect with us. One of them, I think after having an overview from Dean Smith tonight and kind of understanding all of the different components of the Leeds program, connecting with a student is often really helpful to get their input and get some insight from what their experience has been at Leeds. So we have a fantastic team of ambassadors. We have 9 current students from all different areas of the country, students who have come in through pre-business, students who have lived in the residential program and not. Just a really great group of students, and you can meet with them over Zoom. They have Zoom hours Monday through Friday. So I'm going to have Clark, if you wouldn't mind, or if you did already, that's fine, share the link to how you can access all of their profiles and read a little bit about them when they have Zoom office hours, and you can just drop in and ask them some questions. So that's a great next step for you. You can also follow us on social. So I put that up on the slide, and then the email that's up there, that leadsrecruitment@colorado.edu, is the best place to reach Clark and I. So if you have any follow-up questions after tonight or as you continue throughout the fall and spring, please save that email, reach out to us, and we'll get all your questions answered. So, all right. No, I went a little over. Clark, you ready to toss Al and I some questions?
Absolutely, let's do it. So hopefully I've been able to address questions as they've come in over the chat, but I think it's important to have the chance to still address questions as they come through for the good of the group. So I think to, either Dean Smith or to Jesse on this one, this is a great question to ask in the era of COVID-19. With the recent spike, how has the change in classes been at Leeds School of Business or within CU Boulder as a whole?
Do you want to answer that, Dean Smith? Current classes. So.
I didn't catch all that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so we saw the recent spike in COVID-19 cases during the fall semester just a few weeks ago. How has that changed the classes at CU Boulder and within Leeds as part of the academic model?
Yeah, that's a really good question and an evolving question. So the hope and goal of CU is to try to provide as much face-to-face classes as students want to take. The challenge of providing face-to-face classes in a COVID environment is you have to have a socially distanced environment. So students have, the great thing at CU is they have the choice between they can take a class asynchronous, which is a recorded class, and they can watch it on their own schedule. They can take it synchronously remote. And so they have the chance, just like this, they can interact, be involved in the class, but do it from the safety of what they feel. Or if they sign up for a hybrid class, then they can have some face-to-face time as well as remote time that is synchronous. And so students, as COVID cases rise, sometimes the university has had to pivot. At its peak, we actually had to pivot to remote for a couple of weeks for all classes, but then resume back to the model we were. So a lot of it is really dictated by what the regulations of the state of Colorado are. But the beauty is really that students, based on how they learn, prefer different modalities. So I have some students that love all asynchronous. They like just, again, on their own time. But other students like the face-to-face format. So we try to provide those options for you. But again, the state dictates most of that. hopefully by next fall, you guys will be in a better situation, hopefully.
All right, this is a great question regarding GPA as well as test scoring. So the first question is the average GPA mentioned on the slide a weighted or unweighted GPA? CU Boulder looks at your weighted GPA. So if you've taken AP courses, IB courses, and or honors courses, we'll be looking at the highest weighted GPA possible in terms of your application review. So always looking at the highest GPA possible. The other question is, let me see if I could actually get to this exact question because I think it was phrased very well, but it had something to do with the super scoring or how we look at test scores. So CU Boulder is a super scoring institution. What that means is that if you take the SAT or the ACT multiple times, we will take your highest scores from each individual section on each individual test, combine that, and that is the true score we are looking for. So for example, if you took the SAT twice, you scored better in math the first time, but reading and writing was higher the second time, we'll take your first math score and your second reading and writing score, combine that, that is your true SAT composite score. Same thing with the ACT. If you take it multiple times and you have a higher score in math and science your first time and then reading and writing your second time, we will take the highest scores from each individual subject section, combine that, that is your true composite score we are looking at. So I hope that clarified the question when it comes to test scores and super scoring. Another question here, can an SAT or ACT score negatively impact an applicant's chance of being offered a merit-based scholarship? Jesse, why don't you take that one?
Yeah, good question. So we, like I said, are making every effort to make sure that this test optional policy is not, impacting you in both scholarship and the admissions process. So again, feel free to submit without a test score. Use those averages that I showed as kind of a ballpark on that as to whether or not you want to submit them. But again, we have a full merit scholarship process that will not be looking at test scores. So please do not feel pressured to submit those.
Yeah, great question. Another question is, can students study abroad and still graduate within a 4-year time frame?
Yes, absolutely. So most of our students will study abroad junior year is most typical. But like Dean Smith mentioned, as a Leeds student, you have the unique opportunity to go abroad for a short period of time as early as freshman year, which is really cool. And then Leeds also has summer opportunities that you can go a little longer over the summer, and then you can also do a full study abroad semester. So Clark and I have worked with students who have gone abroad 3 or 4 times before they graduate, who are really in global business, and they're still able to do it in 4 years. You'll just work really closely with your academic advisor to make sure all your classes will come back and you're still on track to graduate.
Good question. All right, this is another good question. This is something that we like to address now, but we also want you to hold on to this a little bit more once you have your admissions decision, not to feel like you are, settling or anything like that. I guess is a better way of saying it is, what GPA is required if admitted to the pre-business program to then go into the Leeds School of Business in your second year?
Yeah, good question. So for pre-business, you would have to finish your freshman year with at least a 3.0 GPA at CU. And then there are 4 prerequisite classes. So 2 economics classes, a statistics class, and a business math class. So those 4 courses are the prereqs. You have to get a B- or better in every single one of those, in addition to the 3.0 or higher GPA. Then if you meet that requirement at the end of that first year, you'll submit it. More form. It's not really an application. It's just telling us you're still interested in making that transfer, and you're guaranteed admission into Leeds as long as you've met those requirements.
Jesse, would you like to take this time to also mention transferring from arts and sciences into Leeds?
Yeah, so transferring from arts and sciences into Leeds is an nearly identical process. It's the 3.0 GPA, the 4 prerequisites with the B- or better. The difference with arts and sciences is that we are only able to admit as many as we have space available for courses and things like that. So it's not necessarily guaranteed. You still want to have as high a GPA as possible, get as high grades as you can in those prerequisite courses. It's not a guaranteed process. Historically, we've been able to take students as long as they meet 100% of those requirements. So that's really the difference between pre-business. The pre-business students also have, access to mentoring and access to the global experiences and some of those things that are more closely associated with Leeds.
Yeah. And what I like to mention there too is hold on to that information as more of like a side, knowledge to have. And once you have your admissions decision, that's a great time to reach back out. If you know you've been admitted to pre-business, if you know you've been admitted to CU Boulder's Arts and Sciences program, that way we could be of support and really walking you through what those requirements are, get you in contact with the right people. So right now we of course want you to focus on direct entry to Leeds, make that a priority in your application process, but be sure to reach out if there is anything that you have questions about, especially when you have your admissions decision in hand. And that way we could help you with additional information over the next couple months as we also have more information for you to share at that time. Great question here. If we submit AP scores for economics or statistics, what are the possible courses to take in place of them in freshman year? So can AP courses actually take college credit for those required courses as a first year student? And how can you supplement in another course selection that you'd like to?
Yep. So you can, there's a chart on the CU website. I think if you just search AP IB equivalency chart, you can see exactly what scores and everything you need for those credits to come in and transfer. Yes, so for the econ classes, for example, our freshmen take micro and macroeconomics. If you have AP credit for those and can transfer those in, that's fine. You'll have those requirements met. Really what it does is it frees up time in your schedule to start taking other classes. If you wanted to do a double major or a minor or anything like that, it gives you the flexibility to do multiple programs or graduate early. If you have enough AP credits that you can graduate early, and that's a goal, you could do that as well. But you'll work really closely with your academic advisor over the summer. They'll be able to see what you have transferring in, and they'll help you get registered for classes in place of any AP credits.
I just threw the link down in the chat. So if anybody wants to access that web page, you'll see the equivalency chart there. Typically our first year students are taking majority of their business courses, or really their majority of their curriculum in their first year are business courses. And going back to that idea of studying abroad, a lot of our students like to serve or reserve some of those general core requirements or elective courses for study abroad experience, because there are a number of business courses you cannot take abroad. So students like to save those to really have a full abroad experience with those general education and core requirement courses. So that's another way of going about it. A quick question when it came to the scholarship application, those do open up on November 1st. Or once you've submitted your Common App application. So once you have that Common App submitted, then you'll have access to the scholarship application. That closes right around March 13th, if I'm not mistaken, to March 4th or 15th, somewhere in that range. So you do have a little bit of time in there, or quite a big window to get that application in. But I do recommend, if you are in that mindset of scholarships, to get it done. I know there's a lot of application fatigue right around this time, having applied to probably multiple colleges and multiple applications like that Common App or a different application process, but also to be in that application mindset. And also, if you are planning to fill out the FAFSA, be sure to do that early as well. So if you are looking to have any kind of financial federal support, be sure to fill out the FAFSA, and that is also a good indicator of different scholarship opportunities, not only through Leeds School of Business, but also through the Office of Financial Aid at CU Boulder as well. And that will be posted on your application status page. So when working with the Office of Admissions, you should have an application portal to access. You will find those links in there as well. So be sure to go in there to kind of just do an update, a regular update to your application. They'll also have a checklist regarding what material has been received by the Office of Admissions and what material is still pending or has not been received as of yet. All right. I think we really covered a lot of the questions that we received tonight, so there's not too many more. But if you do have any additional questions, please feel free to put those in the chat box for the remaining few minutes that we do have here. Other than that, Jesse, is there any information or additional insight that you want to share with our attendees tonight, and just going through the application process, or any kind of advice that you'd like to give?
Yeah, definitely. And I will mention too, I think I saw a chat question pop up earlier about whether this will be shared. So we are recording the session and we will post it. So we'll try and follow up with everyone with the access information for that if you'd like to look through any of the slides again. But yeah, I just want to thank you guys for taking the time. As Dean Smith mentioned, we very much know that we're all spending a lot of time on Zoom and in front of computers these days, and we know it's a lot to ask to have you guys spend yet another hour on Zoom with us. So we're really, excited to work with you this year and to get to know you, and really feel free to reach out to us at any time. That's why we're here. We're here to answer your questions. We're here to get you connected. We're here to, really help you figure out if Leeds is going to be the right place for you for the next 4 years. So don't hesitate at all to reach out and to reach out to our current students as well. They would love to talk to you and love to help, but thank you all. So Al, any final words from you?
No, again, I would just strongly recommend, I know if you didn't think of a question tonight or something comes up, feel free to reach out to us. Clark and Jesse are outstanding at listening and following up. And again, feel free to reach out to me as well. Questions will evolve. And at the end of the day, we want you to make the right choice for you. We can't imagine why anybody would not want to come here. But at the end of the day, if you see a program that some other school has and we don't have it, we're going to say, man, that may be the right program for you. We want you to make the best choice. We want students that are super excited to be at Leeds and want to be a part of our culture. So again, thanks for spending the time tonight. And I really look forward to seeing you face to face one time. We are more than just a Zoom experience.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. Have a great night.
Thank you.
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 Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.